Good evening. You're now watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Chloe Feng. Our top stories tonight. South Korea is in mourning after more than 150 Halloween revelers were crushed to death in Seoul. In Hong Kong, police step up crowd control measures at the Lan Kwai Fong ahead of more festivities. And Brazil gets ready to welcome its next leader as presidential runoff sets to take place. South Korea is searching for answers after Halloween celebrations in Seoul went horribly wrong. More than 150 revelers were crushed to death after huge crowds were trapped in a narrow alley. President Yoon Suk-yeol said the tragedy should have never happened, as he declared a week of national mourning. It was supposed to be a fun night out after 3 years of COVID curbs, but the Halloween festivities turned into one of South Korea's worst disasters. President Yoon Suk-yeol declared a week of national mourning as he inspected the site in Seoul this morning. More than 150 people were crushed to death and dozens more injured when huge crowds built up last night in a narrow alley in the entertainment precinct of Itaewon. In chaotic scenes captured by witness, police and emergency crew tried to break up the tightly compressed crowds. But many more were already unconscious as they were pulled out, and authorities said most of them were teenagers or young adults. Over 140 ambulances were deployed, but the rescuers had trouble reaching the site because of the crowds. There were so many bodies, a temporary morgue had to be set up nearby. Those who survived were traumatized.
We were in the bar over here.
It cannot go in, go out. It goes in very long time.
They told everyone to sit down because it's too crowded. Too many people, and I think some people fell and were like walked over.
We cannot move anything, and then people like pushing me like a wave, and then we just go out.
I saw many bodies laying down the street, and suddenly I met another Korean person who can speak English, and they told me that they are dead. And I was shocked. I mean, for what reason? What happened?
In a televised speech, Yoon said the disaster should not have happened. As a president who is responsible for the lives and safety of the people, I feel heavy-hearted, and it is difficult to control my sadness, he said. He ordered those injured to be treated swiftly, while authorities will carry out an emergency review of other festivities to ensure safety. But for many families, the overhaul came too little, too late, as they learned their loved ones had passed away. An estimated 100,000 people had gathered in Itaewon last night, 10 times higher than its Euro traffic. Most Halloween activities, many driven by commercial enterprises, have since been scrapped. Retailers have taken down installations and removed products from the shelves as companies tried to distance themselves from the tragedy. At least 20 foreigners were killed in the crush, including 4 Chinese nationals. There were also victims from Australia, Norway, Thailand, Uzbekistan, and Iran. Condolences poured in from around the world, with Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida, U.S. President Joe Biden, and British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak expressing sympathy. President Xi Jinping said he was shocked by the stampede, while in Hong Kong, Chief Executive John Lee expressed his deepest condolences to the victims' families. He added the SAR government will closely monitor the incident and offer assistance to Hong Kong residents whenever necessary. Back in 1993, a similar stampede happened in Hong Kong, killing 21 revelers on New Year's Day. Police are on heightened alert tonight and urged anyone heading to Lan Kwai Fong to not gather on the streets and obey orders. Jenny Slow reports.
For many Hong Kongers, the deadly crash in Seoul reminded them of a similar tragedy in Lan Kwai Fong almost 3 decades ago. On New Year's Day in 1993, 21 people were killed and 63 were injured in a stampede following countdown celebrations. It remains the deadliest accident involving crowds in the city to this day. A subsequent independent inquiry has proposed a raft of crowd management measures, which police still implement at large-scale events. This lady was not too worried of another stampede in the nightlife district, as she believed everyone would be more cautious after hearing the news. Traffic diversions will remain in force tonight and tomorrow as Halloween celebrations continue. Motorists will not be able to enter the Aguilar Street, Wellington Street, Stanley Street and Queen's Road Central. Assistant Central District Commander Chloe Feng said the arrangements are aimed at facilitating the flow of pedestrians going in and out of the area. She urged revellers at Lan Kwai Fong not to gather or stay on slopes and obey police orders. Janice Low, HKIBC.
COVID infections have dropped for the third consecutive day. Hong Kong logged 5,210 new cases, 478 of which were imported. Nearly 2,000 people remain in hospital, 197 more than a day ago. The virus has taken away another 12 lives. Over in Macau, all residents are ordered to perform rapid antigen tests for 3 consecutive days after detecting 3 new infections. One of the patients is a dealer at MGM Cotai, which has been locked down. Hotel and casino staff, as well as guests, will have to spend the next 3 days at the resort. In other news, Financial Secretary Paul Chan may not be back in time for the banking summit, but pledged to attend via video conference from Saudi Arabia, where he's stuck after catching COVID. Here's Jenny Slow again.
Not even a COVID infection is stopping Paul Chan from updating his weekly blog. Posting from Saudi Arabia, the Financial Secretary said he's feeling better now after his diagnosis on Thursday. But Chan was less upfront on whether he can make it back in time for the highly anticipated banking summit. I hope to attend in person, but if I can't, I will still attend via video conference, he said. The finance minister also recapped what he called a fruitful trip to the Middle East. He noted while local officials and business leaders were eager to invest in the Greater Bay Area, they were not familiar with the market and hoped to seek reliable partners. Some business executives attending an investment forum in Riyadh will also be in Hong Kong this week for the summit, he added. Chan then hit out at foreign politicians for trying to undermine such exchanges, saying this will only hinder global economic recovery. Some U.S. lawmakers had earlier urged financial leaders not to attend the summit, saying it would legitimize the eroding values of autonomy, free press, and the rule of law in the SAR. On a radio program, Financial Services Secretary Christopher Hui echoed Chan's views. Hui said Hong Kong's unique advantages as an international financial center will not be taken away by a few comments. He believes the numbers speak for themselves, as over 12,000 people from 300 organizations are set to attend the Hong Kong FinTech Week, which starts tomorrow. On a separate note, Hui revealed work is underway to better regulate cryptocurrency trading to prevent money laundering activities. A draft legislation will be tabled to the Legislative Council for discussion soon. Janice Low, HKIBC.
Brazilians are set to decide who they want as their next leader. The world's fourth largest democracy is gearing up for a fierce runoff election. Leftist challenger Luiz da Silva, commonly known as Lula, remains the slight favorite to win. The Workers' Party founding member and former president promises to bring back socialist policies and refocus the country's climate actions. He hopes to end the presidency of the divisive Jair Bolsonaro, a far-right nationalist who has been widely criticized for his poor handling of COVID and the vast deforestation of the Amazon. Supporters from both sides staged final rallies before the runoff, while results could be out tomorrow. The first round of elections took place earlier this month. Lula won by a small margin but failed to reach the threshold to avoid a runoff contest. Hundreds of protesters have gathered in the Israeli city of Tel Aviv to show their solidarity with the anti-government protesters in Iran.
We want to support the Iranian people. We want to end, basically, we would wish this regime would end, to let them know that we are here and we're supporting them and we hear them, we see them. They're not alone. The whole world wants this to end.
The Israeli people are not against the Iranian people. We are against the Iranian regime. The Iranian regime that terrorizes everyone. And this is something that we need to stand with the Iranian people against that awful regime, that terrorist regime.
The support came as demonstrations across Iran continued for the 6th straight week. Many displayed the Israeli and the former Iranian flags, along with a photo of Mahsa Amini, whose death in police custody last month ignited the nationwide unrest. The Iranian government has repeatedly alleged that foreign powers orchestrated the protests without providing evidence. On to the weather now. Dry with sunny periods tomorrow, while winds will pick up at coastal areas. Temperatures will range between 22 and 27 degrees, dipping to 19 on Tuesday, when you can expect showers. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That's our main news for Sunday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Chloe Feng. Thanks for watching. Good night.